So, Bronx, if you want to start us off, how did you assess the day went from the BLACKCAPS perspective?
The first session was pretty good. Obviously, we had to get the wickets to actually get ourselves back into batting, and then Will Young and Ross Taylor were sort of go along quite nicely, putting on a good partnership and sort of raising the deficit and things like that. But then, just as we passed it, we lost crucial wickets at a pretty poor time. So I guess all in all, you look at it, the Bangladesh have actually had the upper hand on us for quite a massive part of this test, to be honest with you.
Luke, what's the strategy from here? Because the variable bounce seems to be coming into play. How will you be addressing the batters that are remaining tomorrow?
It's just trying to bat for as long as we can, really. I mean, with that bounce, it can open up options, I guess, later on in the day. But for us, we've actually just have to bat. Ross and Rutchin have to get out there tomorrow, just start the innings off again, really. Play nice and straight. Their seam bowlers bowled straight to make us play a lot, which on that surface with it, I guess getting a little bit of reverse and a little bit of variable bounce makes a lot harder and puts some good pressure on us. And the spinners did the same thing. They bowled straight and didn't let the guys sort of play the way they wanted to for a fair chunk. But then same tomorrow, we've got to go out and actually be us, play a positive style of cricket with making sure we're still scoring. If we're just going to try and bat the day out, then I'd imagine the day will disappear pretty quickly. So we've got to go out there and just play a positive brand of cricket to make sure that the game's still ticking along.
And Luke, what was the feedback from the players who were dismissed by Everett Hussain just on the extra pace that he had?
I actually haven't spoken to the guys too much about that side of it. It's more around I guess the way they were feeling and things. I mean, it's more. I mean, for Henry Nicholls and Tom Blunt, I mean, they were only out there for a short while, so it's more about Will Young and how he was going and the mindset with that, and Ross Taylor as well. So they were playing nice and straight when he was bowling, and then I guess it's just that added pressure that sort of over a long period of time comes in, and you make little errors that can hurt you. But the same thing tomorrow. It's about Ross starting in, Rutchin starting in, and looking straight. And when they are sort of getting that little bit of reverse and tail, and with that little bit of extra pace, it is just trying to hit straight and playing the game that way, I think.
And is your strategy, just the final one for me, is your strategy influenced by the World Test Championship points being in play these days, and also, of course, the title defence?
It's all about trying to win games of cricket. I mean, that's what every nation is trying to do. At the moment, we're well behind the games. We've actually got to get a lead that is sufficient enough to try and defend and try and take wickets as well. So that's a massive part of tomorrow. It's just about trying to bat and build some runs for the positive on our side of the ledger. So we can't do much else than that, really. We look further into the day if we're still batting and how things are going. But to start the day, it's about just sort of getting going and getting the ball rolling in our favour.
Do you think the wicket has changed much between day 3 and day 4?
There's a few more cracks opening up and a little bit more sort of variable bounce. But in terms of if you sort of look at last year's wicket compared to this year, it's not doing nearly the same as what it did last year. So, like I said, if we can get a decent enough lead, if we can build some runs up and see what the sort of surface has done overnight and in the morning with a bit more heat and sun into it, and if the bounce does become a bit more variable, then that can make a massive sort of impact in the game. But outside of that, it's still been a pretty good surface, and if you're in, you can actually score some runs and make it look easier than maybe it probably is at times.
What do you feel then that some of the events would have missed out as sort of both England and New Zealand?
You have to say that again. It got a bit squeaky then. Sorry.
Why do you feel then, given that it's a pretty good surface, that some of the bets would have sort of missed out as both England and New Zealand?
I think it's just the pressure that Bangladesh were applying. I think they were bowling nice and tight and making it hard for us. I think early on day one there was a heck load more grass and greenery on it, and that made a big difference in the game. Not in the game, in that innings. And so then it's about just applying yourselves as much as you can. I mean, it's also the nature of a game of cricket. Guys aren't always going to score runs, so unfortunately it happens to people, and it's just the way it is. So we just got to go about worrying about tomorrow and how we can compress the game forward, pretty much.
Yes.
Chris, you're on mute there, mate.
Sorry, off now. No, Luke, would you have preferred to have seen more grass on the wicket at the start?
There was a decent amount of grass on it to start with, so it's not about that. I think last year we sort of look at the surface here and also the England game as well. It's because of the temperatures up here and the nature of the soil as well. It does dry out quicker. So understanding that and making sure that sort of we, I guess, style a game plan around that as well as part of it. Obviously, Bangladesh batted really well and made us bowl lots of overs. We haven't had to do that for quite some time, and that also takes a bit of energy out of bowlers, obviously, the batters and heavy legs and things like that. But that's not an excuse for why you don't bat as well as you want to. But also there was certainly enough grass on the surface to start the match.
Thanks, Luke.
Thanks, Chris. Any final questions, guys? All good. Thank you very much. Cheers, Ron.